Hello and welcome to 49 Unbeaten, the official ArsenalVavel podcast. We've got a very special episode today. My name's Dan, joined by Ben and Jack as usual. And we've also got a special guest, Chris Davison on. Chris, welcome. Do you want to introduce yourself? Just kind of say a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, hi guys. I hope you're all keeping well. I'm an aspiring writer, just like yourselves. Really, I'm a massive Arsenal fan as well, and people may recognise me off Twitter. I do a lot of work on there, articles, just reporting all the latest sort of news and speculations around the club. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure.
That's fine. No worries. Thanks for coming on. So we just wanted to get underway. Starting off, Jack, just gonna look back on the North London derby. We saw in midweek, Olympiacos beat the worst team in Greece, and we beat the worst team in the Premier League. So 2-1 to Arsenal. Jack, what did you just kind of briefly make of the game?
Yeah, no, quality. I mean, domination from the beginning. A bit shaky towards the end. I was on the edge of my seat for the last 10 minutes. But no, yeah, brilliant result and very important as well going forward, especially obviously Olympiacos on Thursday, but for West Ham as well this weekend. So yeah, brilliant result, and obviously it's lovely to win a derby, isn't it? So
yeah, of course, it was a weird one this season because we looked at it and went, it kind of doesn't really mean anything if it was anyone else, but it's Spurs. So although kind of you could say we're not going to probably get Champions League in the league this season, it's still the North London derby. You still got to go all out for it. You still got their bragging rights, isn't it? So yeah, it's a weird one. Chris, what did you think of the derby?
Yeah, well, it was good. It was sweet, wasn't it? It's always really good to get one over them. And I must admit, I thought it was going to be sort of Wolves, Burnley all over again first half, when we were playing really well and having a lot of chances, and then Spurs going to get the first goal, and yeah, I thought here we go again. But no, credit to the lads. We've seen it a few times this season, haven't we, when we've gone behind and then we've kept going and dug deep and then ended up getting the 3 points. So that was really positive, and a great result, especially after the another fantastic result against Olympiacos earlier last week as well. So going into the second leg and going into West Ham at the weekend, we're really in a good position, really, aren't we? To be fair, and the confidence should be through the roof. So hopefully we can keep it up. Yeah,
fingers crossed we'll be able to go into that West Ham game, and hopefully it's a London derby. It doesn't really mean as much as the North London derby, but it's still a game that if we have any aspirations of qualifying for Europe, we need to win. But just before then, we've got a small matter of our old enemies, Olympiacos.
Don't call that, please.
Yeah. In the Europa League. On this podcast, Chris, we do tend to say that we curse things quite a lot, and we'll say we're going to win something quite a lot, and then we'll get absolutely, shafted. So Olympiacos Thursday night. Ben, how are you feeling about this one?
I feel pretty good about it. Olympiacos have got to come and score 3 goals against us at the Emirates. I mean, they scored 2 last season, but we won't talk about that. 3 goals, we've got a pretty good defensive record. I can't see Arsenal doing an Arsenal 3 times in a game. You could see it once, we've done it regularly once. Twice was unusual, like against Benfica. But 3 times, that would be the most Arsenal thing I think I've ever seen. But I also can't see us not scoring. With the front 4 we've got and the options we've got off the bench, if we don't score against Olympiacos when they've got Socrates and Jan and Villa playing at centre-back, you've got to seriously question where this is all going.
Chris, do you think we need to rest players for this game, for the West Ham game, or can you see us going full strength?
I think we probably will rest 1 or 2. I've just seen Arteta's been speaking this morning. Saka seems to be better than he was at the weekend, but why risk him? We're in a comfortable position now in the second leg, and I just think it wouldn't be wise to include him. Give him a break. He's been playing a lot of games as it is, and we all know how vital he's been this season and how vital he will be in seasons to come. I think it'd probably be wise to maybe just at least have him on the bench, and obviously if things aren't going well or we need a bit of a spark from somewhere, we can always bring him on. But players like him, maybe even Smith Rowe, give him another break. He's been absolutely fantastic again recently, and Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't like to see us go full strength. And I know that's a bit of a risky thing to say because, as Arteta said this morning, the tie isn't entirely over at all. There's always a chance that Arsenal just do be typical Arsenal and throw it away. There you go. That's the jinx. There you go. But no, we've got, like you said, we've got some really good, strong options now with a fully fit squad, and hopefully we'll, even if we do rest one or two, we'll have more than enough to get the job done and get it over the line. But certainly, just off the top of my head, someone like Saka, who's obviously been playing a lot of games and has took a knock at the weekend, maybe it's just best if we rest players like him, really.
It sounds controversial, but I'd like to see Willian play again.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. But to be honest, I was going to say the same thing. He's, say about not putting a full strength squad out. In a way, in recent weeks, you've sort of seen, even when Arteta has rotated, we have sort of, we've seen glimpses of good performances from the likes of Willian, who hadn't performed, that great towards the start, at the start of the season. So I think even if we do rotate, we should. You'd think we'd still go through, wouldn't you? As you said, we can't concede.
I mean, also, Willian has plenty of experience at this level and Champions League level. You'd expect I think Thursday's going to be a night where you want experienced heads, just so keep players calm. I think that's probably why Thomas Partey will play at least an hour. I think Granit Xhaka will probably play. I don't think you touch that pivot if you can help it. And then it will just be a case of who can you bring in, who's going to offer a bit more stability. I think, again, David Luiz will play. I think he'll probably get rested against West Ham. But I think there's so much around Olympiacos and the way that we played them last season and the manner that we lost, that you've got to sort of hope that they can stay calm on the pitch. Because if they stay calm on the pitch, we're a much better side than Olympiacos, and we've got a 2-goal advantage. Logically, there's no way we don't go through, provided we don't do something stupid or lose our heads, and that'll be the key, won't it?
At this stage of the season, we appear to be very like well off with squad depth that we have in the team. Like the likes of Pepe, Martinelli, Willian, well, maybe not Willian, but Pepe and Martinelli, especially for their form this season since they came back, has been they're very good options to have. And although I know a lot of fans would like to see Martinelli given more game time, I think we can afford to play maybe not our first-rate team. So we could see maybe Smith Rowe going back into that cam role. And I'd like to see Martinelli give him some minutes. I don't know if he will, because Arteta seems to be pretty set on playing the other players he's got at his disposal. But especially with the lack of injuries, bar Saka, I think we're in a pretty good place going into the rest of the season. And if everyone can stay fit, I definitely think we've got a good chance of progressing through to hopefully, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but the Europa League is definitely something we'd want to win this season.
Yeah.
I guess team news wise, there's not really any injuries to talk about. Jack, who would you like to see kind of as the key areas of the pitch? I know the centre back pairing is probably something that could be played around with, and the wingers and strikers. But who would you like to see get some minutes?
No, I mean, it is an opportunity to rotate. I mean, we've got a comfortable lead. Obviously, not jinxing it again, but we do. I mean,
stop saying that. I'm terrified.
Yeah. But no, I can see us potentially rotating. I really like Luiz and Gabriel. Like that partnership for me, I do like it. I mean, Holding and Murray, I'd like to see them potentially. If that'd be a decent centre back pairing, get them a few more minutes under their belt as well. But I think I'd like to see Pepe back in the starting lineup. He's really, although he hasn't played to his price tag yet, but it's still important to he's started to come to himself a little bit in the games he's recently played. But I think I'd like to see Pepe get a few minutes. He brings something different to the squad. But mainly, I'd love to see Martinelli. Get him back on the pitch, get him back playing. I think he's definitely one for the future. One we've got to keep hold of. I think so. It'd be important to get some minutes for Martinelli, I think.
We spoke about it briefly before the pod, Jack and Dan. But Chris, do you think Aubameyang's going to come back out with a rocket up his arse, or do you think he'll sort of be the sulky Aubameyang that we saw at the start of the season when he wasn't really getting any chances, not really getting any goals after his disciplining out weekend?
Well, hopefully it isn't the latter. I'd like to think, he's the situation from the weekend's been solved now. As Arteta said today, it has been, and Aubameyang's responded in a really positive way, which is good to hear. We may see him feature tomorrow and bang a couple more goals in. That would be the best way to respond, wouldn't it, really? And I think Aubameyang, it's been a funny one this season, hasn't it? We all wanted him to sign that new contract. We were all ecstatic when he finally did as well. Such an important player for us in the last few seasons. Probably hasn't scored as many goals as he would have liked this season. But obviously, there's been lots happening in his private life as well. When he missed a few games, and obviously the weekend as well. But no, like I said, obviously the best way would be for him to respond and score if he was starting tomorrow, and prove a point to the manager that he's still very much a crucial part to this team. I think when he has played, Lacazette has been very good as well for us. I still view him as an important player to this team. I know there's a lot of talk about maybe him leaving if he doesn't extend his contract in the summer, and we're looking at other options. But I still think in terms of the way we play, in terms of the qualities he brings up front, i.e. holding up the ball, working really hard, and he has got an eye for goal. He's a very important player for us, and it always is a bit of a difficult situation, I'm sure, for Arteta when you've got two very good strikers in Lacazette and Aubameyang. But for me, I don't really like Aubameyang on the wing. I must admit, I just think he's an out and out striker. We get the best out of him when he's up front. He's more lethal than Lacazette. So it's been difficult for him this season, Aubameyang, I think. But I've got no doubt. We all know the quality that he has. We all know those special moments he can provide. And if he starts again tomorrow, which I'm probably sure he might after the weekend, to be fair.
I think
then I think hopefully he can provide some of those very special moments again and get back scoring.
It's a really interesting one, though, when you talk about the strikers that we have. Do you think that, I know Spurs had something similar. I remember a lot was made about the fact that Maurizio Pochettino's best system didn't necessarily include Harry Kane, despite the fact that Harry Kane was head and shoulders their best player. Do you think we've got something sort of similar with Aubameyang? Because against Tottenham, when he didn't play, we looked brilliant in how cohesive we were and how we attacked as a team and pressed as a team. And when Aubameyang comes on, it's not that he doesn't do the running. It's the sort of the press is a little less ferocious, I guess, because Lacazette's really in your face. And, Do you think that there's a case to be made for that, even though Aubameyang is heads and shoulders our best striker?
Potentially, yeah. It's a really interesting point because, as I mentioned, as you just mentioned as well, Lacazette for me, he's a hard worker. He does a lot of running around the pitch. Like you say, he gets in players' faces, closes the ball down. And maybe we just don't see it. But for me, Lacazette's more vocal as well. He's a bit more of a leader, in my opinion.
Which is ironic, really, isn't it? Given Aubameyang being club captain. He's sort of club captain by example because he scores goals.
Yeah.
As opposed to, someone like Kieran Tierney, who you see shouting every game.
Yeah.
You don't see that from Aubameyang.
Even Xhaka. He's a very big... Xhaka, Luiz, Tierney are three very big influences on that dressing room and on the pitch.
It does make you wonder sort of what Arteta sees, at the training ground, etc., behind the scenes, because whenever we see Arsenal play, it is your Tierneys, your Xhakas, your Luizes, who are very vocal. And you don't see that as much with Aubameyang. So maybe there obviously is something behind the scenes, or is it just a bit of a something that made Aubameyang stay, giving him that leadership and the responsibility with the armband. Who knows? But no, I think we're very lucky to have a player like Aubameyang. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not saying he's not good enough and he's past his best like some have suggested before. Hello, Jamie Redknapp. But
I don't think he watches these, mate.
Probably not. I just thought I'd throw it in there. But no, he's a fantastic player, no doubt about that. He's had a rough season, maybe not as scoring as much as he would have liked and had the influence that he would have liked. But that's what I mean. I just feel as if, if Aubameyang plays, we get the best out of him up front. But at the same time, that's what I mean when I say it could be difficult for Arteta, because Lacazette's a very important player for us as well. And you show that again at the weekend. So we'll have to see. If Arteta is planning to rotate for tomorrow, then Aubameyang may be coming straight back in. But we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully Aubameyang, if he does start, if he plays at all, can respond in the right way and have a really positive impact on the team.
I think it's safe to say that Lacazette, in my opinion, Lacazette's a more complete striker, but Aubameyang's final third, normally like pace, finishing, is just head and shoulders, like you said, above everyone else. And there's definitely a case to say that Lacazette makes the team play better because his hold-up play naturally brings those other players into the game more. But Aubameyang's probably, when he's got his back to goal, I think is probably his weakest point. But just to kind of finish up on that topic, Olympiacos, we could really shoot ourselves in the foot here and end up on some out of context page. But score predictions, Ben, what are you going to go for?
We're going to win 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah. Aubameyang's going to get a brace. And we're going to draw Rangers/Slavia Prague, whoever wins that tie next.
That's a big shout. Jack, what are you going for?
I can't predict Arsenal to lose, obviously. But no, I think we will score again. I think so. I'm not going to go for the 3-0. I'm going to go for 2-0 instead, I think.
Chris, what are you feeling?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jackson, I'm going to go for 2-0 as well. I'm confident we'll bag a couple more goals. Never say never with our defence, there's always a chance there, isn't there? There's always a chance. And, it's a bit sad I'm going to say this, but if we do concede, hopefully it isn't in similar fashion to last week. Hopefully it's a 30-yard stunner from an Olympiacos player.
That's all we seem to concede these days, isn't it? We either concede worldies or we concede goals that we've given them.
I still can't believe that Lamella goal, the Rabona. I didn't see it straight away. I had to wait to the replay. But when I saw he'd done a Rabona, I was just like, that is just another level. But and it was him as well. It's just awful. But
hey, we got the 3 points. That's all that matters.
Yeah, we got the 3 points. That's all that matters. Even if Sky chose just to talk about the Rabona goal, we got the 3 points and won the game. But I'm going to go for I don't know why, but I've got a feeling we're going to concede early, and it's going to be a bit nervy.
Yeah, nice one.
I still think we're going to win 2-1, but I don't know. With Arsenal, you never know, do you? Chris, just kind of obviously the guest on the podcast wanted to kind of get a bit more of an insight about you. You've just joined Soccer Lens, is that correct?
That is indeed, yep.
Yeah. How are you finding that the new kind of role, and what kind of stuff are you doing for them at the moment?
So yeah, no, it's got off to a good start. They reached out. I'm not sure if any of you saw my tweet a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
I think it was 5 years ago I set up that Twitter account, and it was just for a bit of fun to begin with. I was just a normal Arsenal fan, tweeting out odd bits and bobs of news that were doing around it already in the news. It wasn't like any ITK stuff, as some people like to call it nowadays. But and just giving my views as an Arsenal fan on stories that happen around the club and matches, etc. But then I started gaining a bigger following and started appearing on a few podcasts. I'd set up my own blog and done interviews with journalists from around the world who covered a certain league, and say we'd just signed a player from that league. I'd get in touch with them and get their thoughts on the players. I remember, I got one on Leno, Socrates, Guendouzi when they all joined, the start of the Unai Emery era, which didn't last that long. And
era's a bit long, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. The year he was here is better, probably. The following just got bigger and bigger, and I just started doing some writing for a website called the Arsenal Review. You may have heard of them before. They're really good, and they gave me an opportunity to sort of just show what I could do. In this tweet I put out a couple of weeks ago, I said I was getting frustrated at the lack of opportunities for someone like myself, and if I could change one thing about that tweet, it would be that, because when I should have clarified it a bit more. I've got no journalism qualifications like some of you may have. You know, you're writing for Vavel, you know, and you're studying journalism. You're trying to get qualifications to get into the media industry and the journalism industry, and you know, whereas myself, you know, I haven't done anything like that. I'm not currently doing anything like that, but just in terms of where I'm based, I'm in East Anglia. I'm near, just about in Norwich, and I was brought up as a massive Arsenal fan. I've always had a dream of getting into the media industry and being a journalist, or at least, you know, writing for companies and sites around football. And yeah, I just, you know, I've found it very difficult to find the opportunities and get into somewhere that could help me sort of give me that break and give me that sort of break into the industry. But yeah, the response to the tweet was overwhelming, and Soccer Lens, they reached out to me, and I'm currently sort of writing on Arsenal on a trial basis. So we're just going to see how it goes, and if it works out for all involved, then hopefully it can sort of turn into something more permanent. You know, I've published the first couple of articles already, and they got a really good reaction. So yeah, you know, I'm thankful for the opportunities I have been given, and you know, just like yourselves, you know, there's so many people that got in touch with me, even really highly respected journalists, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but John Cross got in touch, and the likes of Henry Winter, etc., and you know, saw your tweet. You know, it is just such a hard industry to break into, harder than ever before, and I'm sure that, you know, that pandemic included, it is very, very difficult, and a lot of companies and sites have struggled financially because of the pandemic. So I respect that. You know, it is hard, but someone like myself who's only 21 and is based in Norfolk, and there's not a lot of opportunities about, I just wanted to see what opportunities there were, if anyone could help me out. So yeah, Soccer Lens, early days, but really glad to be part of the site, and yeah, hopefully there's bigger and better things to come in the future, and yeah, it's good. But I hope sort of all of you as well, and those who are wanting to get into the media industry and wanting to write about, you know, the club we all love, you know, I hope you all have success too, and just keep going at it. You know, it is difficult, and it's not easy to find these opportunities, but if you keep going and you work hard and get your work out there, then I've got no doubt that you'll make it one day. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, and obviously wishing you the best of luck for your new role, and hopefully for all your future endeavours. But
Thank you.
something that you will probably be we will put all your links, by the way, in the description, just so people can find you and know where to follow you. I'm sure a lot of people probably follow you already that listen to us, but something you'll most likely be writing on come a couple of months will be Arsenal's summer transfer window plans. It's a big summer, I think, is an understatement. For me, it feels a very key summer, because we've got a squad at the moment which is very much in the balance. Obviously, the start of the season wasn't good enough. We had injuries and we weren't in the best place, and we're still not, but we're definitely going in the right direction. Ben, just kind of starting off with looking into the summer transfer window, I know it's a while off now, but would you say there's some priority positions or deals that need strengthening, or we need to sign certain positions?
I think the problem we have is we have a lot of players who are very young, and I wouldn't really want to sign anyone who would disrupt that. So Smith Rowe, for example, Saka obviously is untouchable. Erdegaard, if we can get him on a permanent or another season loan, then brilliant. I think it would probably be another season-long loan that Arsenal prefer, unless we can find some money from somewhere and Real Madrid lower their asking price. If they're, you know, if Real Madrid's in a lot of financial trouble, let's not be around the bush. You know, they're struggling hugely with the pandemic. And there have obviously been rumours recently about them trying to re-sign Cristiano Ronaldo. they're obviously trying to get these new Galacticos in. So Mbappe or Haaland, those are persistent rumours. They'll probably go for one of those, you think. It's whether they then need to balance the books by selling us Erdegaard, or whether Arsenal end up sort of in a deal where we take Ceballos cut price and they throw in Erdegaard on loan for another season as a sweetener or something like that. It depends. There's a lot still to be decided, I think, at Real Madrid and at Arsenal before the summer window. But I think certainly if we can get Erdegaard in or someone of that ilk, just to give Smith Rowe a bit of a rest every now and then, I think a centre forward is also probably our most pressing concern. Aside from that, just because we've got a really good defensive record, it's just we need to create more, which is coming, and score more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you see about? Sorry, Chris, I was just gonna say, Chris, what do you see about the whole Erdegaard situation? Do you think Arsenal will move for him permanently, or do you think Real Madrid will want to keep hold of him?
I'd like to think we're certainly going to try, because I've been really, really impressed with him so far. I think it will depend on a lot of things. It happened with Ceballos still. Obviously, we got him on that season-long loan, and we were able to end up getting him again for another season. So I'd like to think we can do the same with Odegaard, even better, getting him on a permanent. I mean, I'm sure it would probably include a bit of a substantial fee because of his caliber and how young he still is, and the potential he's got. But we've been screaming out for someone like him for a long time, and obviously even when Mesut was still at the club and that was all happening in the background, we were screaming out for someone to come in to create more chances, to score more goals from midfield, and to purely create and give the quality that we have on the wings and up top more chances. And I certainly think he's done that since he's come in. He's had a really good impact on the team. It's important that we give Smith Rowe a rest as well. That's crucial because he's still young. We need to protect him. I was going to say, actually, just talking about sort of the summer as a whole and the areas we need to strengthen. Been thinking that maybe a winger would be needed because there's obviously up until the last few weeks been doubts on Willian. There was a lot of talk about Pepe still struggling and not being at his best, but I think in the last few weeks he's come on a bit more as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on that front. But obviously we've been using Smith Rowe sort of out wide a little bit too in recent weeks. So again, it depends on so many things. Obviously another right back I feel is crucial. I don't know, as much as I love the guy, Bellerin just hasn't been the same, has he, since that really bad injury he got a couple of seasons ago. And it's difficult because when he first come onto the scene, he was an absolutely fantastic player for us. One of the best right backs I think that was in the league and has been in the league in recent times. But yeah, since he suffered that injury and everything he's been through, he just hasn't been the same. And Cedric, for me, in his performances, has outdone Bellerin in so many aspects, been so much more impressive and stronger defensively, and also his crossing and work rate really, really impressive. So yeah, maybe depending on what happens to Bellerin in the summer, we might need to look at another fullback. I think in both fullback areas,
we've only got Tierney on the left, haven't we? So we need someone else to cover there. Yeah,
exactly. And there was a lot of talk about us moving for a left back, sort of in the last stages, the winter window, but we couldn't get it done. So yeah, I mean, I might be wrong, but I'd like to think, in all due respect, we've seen the last of Kolasinac at Arsenal, because obviously he's only on loan for now, but not good enough for us moving forward. And yeah, we need to strengthen the full-back areas, absolutely. And then again, I'd still say centre-back positions need to be looked at, but at the same time, when you've got Holding, Marie, Gabriel, Louise, and then on top of that, Saliba and Mavropanos returning at the end of the season, both of whom have been very, very impressive out on their loan spells, then we'll have too many centre backs, and you've got to think if Saliba and Mavropanos have been doing really well, then they deserve a chance. So we'll have to see. I'd like to think maybe another partner for Partey and Xhaka in central midfield, because I don't know if Ceballos is going to stay any longer. Lots to be done, as you said earlier. Really, really important window and really important time for us, and hopefully it'll be another exciting one.
Almost as important as the incoming is going to be the outgoings, though, isn't it? Obviously, we've got a lot of contractual issues with Lacazette down to his last year. I think Callum Chambers has only got 12 months left come the summer. Matteo Guendouzi, when he comes back, will only have 12 months. All of these need to be sorted. It's not really going to be a market conducive to selling players, but we'll have, when you look at the size of the squad we have already, and then you add Joe Willock, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Lucas Torreira, Mavropanos and Saliba, as you said, you're sort of looking at a lot of players sort of fluff around the edges almost, that in a decent market could fetch a good fee. And then on top of that, you're looking at whether you extend Luiz's contracts. So there's a lot of balancing to do, where we've got to make sure we get the outs right as much as we get the ins right, because if we get ins right but get the outs wrong, it's going to end up sort of like we had in the summer of Emery's last season, when we couldn't bring anyone in because we had a wage bill that was too bloated. We had players that weren't going to leave, and we couldn't not register them because it would cause a massive uproar. It's sort of just making sure we get the balance right this summer more than who we bring in, I think.
We've got contract issues. Well, not issues, but I think Leno's contract is starting to get to the stage where you're looking at renewing. I believe Smith Rowe is kind of a similar kind of stage. So there's definitely a massive summer. But Jack, how important do you think it is, just kind of to start to close the podcast, how important do you think it is now that Arsenal, how we finished this season, important do you think that is for regarding business come the summer?
Oh yeah, massively. I mean, getting in Europe, if you don't get into Europe, it have massive financial implications, and obviously be disappointing if we don't. So, and it's looking likely that we're not going to get Europe through the league. I think we've accepted that for a long time now. So I think we do need to try and get into Europe via the Europa League, and I think that's important to not only get the finance, the financial backing from getting back into the Champions League, or getting any European football at all, but also to attract those players as well. Players want to play in Europe, and the players who are currently at Arsenal also want to play at Europe. So or play in Europe. So it's very important how we finish this season to how next season goes. But you never know. I don't want to jinx it now, but not getting Europe maybe a blessing. Maybe have a chance to focus on the league a little bit more, and try and get back to our best. But it's either way. Either way we finish this season, it'll have a massive impact on next, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, cheers for coming on, Chris. It's been brilliant to have you on. We will leave all links to all of us in the description. Make sure to save the podcast on Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube channel, tweet us on Arsenal at ArsenalVavel1. Give us your opinions on all the things we've said in this podcast, and we will catch you in another episode soon to hopefully review a Olympiacos win. Sorry, an Arsenal win against.
Arsenal
win. A win.
It was all going so well. It was all going so well.
A win against Olympiacos, and hopefully progressing into the
quarterfinals.
It's business end now, isn't it? Cheers for watching and listening, guys, and we will catch you later.